All right, hello, and welcome back to the Agents Unleashed podcast, the show that helps you to sort the signal from the noise in the fast-paced world of agentic AI. My name is Thomas Maybrier, and I'm the digital media producer for Valory, one of the core contributors to Olas. If you haven't heard of Olas, or you haven't heard of Agents Unleashed, let me quickly tell you a little bit about both. So, Olas is the best way for anyone to own and monetize their AI agent, and that includes people just like you. You can learn more about how to do that at olas.network. And Agents Unleashed isn't just a podcast, it's also the premier event series for people interested in agentic AI. And in fact, this episode is all about Agents Unleashed because today I'm going to share some highlights from the recent event that was held in Cannes. There were a ton of great panels, presenters, and talks, and the playlist where you can watch all of these videos is actually up on YouTube right now. If you want to check that out, and I definitely encourage you to, you can find a link to do that and also links for everything else that we'll talk about today in the description box or the show notes, wherever you get the show. So there's about 2 hours of content from the event, and I know not everyone has time to watch all of it. So what I've done today is selected a few moments from talks and presentations that I think really resonate with the themes of the podcast. I chose 3 broad areas to focus on today: ownership, action, and personalization. I think all of the presentations that I shared today touch on at least one of these themes, but usually 2 or sometimes all 3. Let's start with ownership. So this clip that I'm going to share with you next is the welcome keynote. It was presented by David Minarsch. He's one of the founding members of Olas and the CEO of Valory. He gave a great talk. I would encourage you to watch the whole thing, but here's a moment that I particularly liked.
We have much more focus on apps. For consumers, we always had our app called Pearl. It's giving you access to a world of AI agents that you can self-host. The same way you own your keys to own your coins, we believe you should own your agents. You should own the underlying weights, the underlying open source code. With Pearl, you can do that. I leave you with a high-level outlook of what we're here to build at Olas, which is we want to combine these into building the most powerful agents that you can imagine. And we think everyone should be able to own their agents or co-own them as a group. And I hope you do too.
So in this clip, you heard David mention Pearl, which is an agent app store. It's actually a lightweight application that you can run on your computer that gives you access to a range of different kinds of autonomous AI agents that you can run and own yourself. This app store model is interesting because the agents in it are actually owned by you. You control the keys that control their wallets. Their code is open source, and the underlying weights and the value that they generate also belongs to you. In my experience, Pearl is a great way to dip your feet into autonomous AI agents and get a little reward for running them consistently. We'll return to autonomous AI agents that run inside Pearl in a later talk. Moving on, let's focus on action. There's actually many interesting moments from the day that would fit within this theme, but since we don't have time to look at all of them, I want to share this presentation from Michael Broderick of the Near Foundation. Michael presented the Mindshare Agent, which is an autonomous AI trading agent that has generated some pretty impressive results in its trial run. Let's check that out.
You can see here, it's actually really interesting. So the green line being the Mindshare Agent, and it outperformed Bitcoin and an equal weighted basket, the equal weighted basket being the top tokens. It's clearly a little conservative at the beginning, but then it made some really strategic, aggressive trades toward the end as it kind of warmed up and got familiar with the industry. Breaking it down a little further, we had the daily P&L, which really hones in. You just see very small transactions at the beginning, but it gets really interesting by day 10, where it made the first kind of bullish investment into BTC. It got 2,000 BTC. It got a return of nearly $500 in one day. It continued to be comfortable having this more aggressive trading strategy, and you can see there's a lot of activity towards the end. So by day 26, it did really well, making a swap from, I think it was Ethereum to Near, from Bitcoin to Solana, and then to, I think, XRP to Trump coin. So it's really cool to see that it actually kind of learns, it becomes more comfortable having like a very active strategic trading strategy here. So a couple of key observations after running, an autonomous agent trading on your behalf 24/7. The strengths, it had decisive action. It was not shy about making those large-scale transactions after it got warmed up. The market timing is, very helpful, I think, especially with like the broader altcoin market. It actually chose to realize some of the profits, close its position, so it didn't lose any additional capital. Considerations, it was a high-risk appetite. This probably isn't something you would want to throw all of your life savings into, your 401k, but this is a great strategy if you do have a little bit of appetite for risk. Short time frame, as I mentioned, it was 31 days, but we did see even beyond 31 days, it was still doing quite well. So Not financial advice, but really cool tool to play with, and definitely recommend trying it out.
Yeah, very cool. And I think definitely only the beginning for this sort of agent, because the use case is quite accessible. And when the performance numbers look like this, I think it's very appealing to all different kinds of users. Another thing that's great about using autonomous AI agents in this space is these markets that they participate in are open 24/7. And it's not reasonable for normal people to expect that they can check in on them all the time, but they might still want some exposure, some way to participate. These AI agents are a great way to do that. So next I've got another trading agent to share. This one comes from Michael Beaudoin. He's a product manager at Valory, and he presented the Optimus agent. Optimus is an AI agent that runs inside of the Pearl application that I mentioned earlier. And I think what stands out about Michael's talk isn't just the tech, but also the personalization. Let's check that out.
So as a benchmark of this, or as a comparison, with the assumptions of just a random allocation into the equal weighting of the CoinMarketCap top 100 tokens. Of course, this last month, as was previously mentioned, pretty volatile one geopolitically. But your average return in the market would have been negative 0.6%, and Optimus is 1.94 for an annualized APR of like 43% or so. As a measure of relative difference, it's, this month alone outperformed the market with the assumptions that I mentioned by about 400%. As I mentioned before, there is this philosophy that the agents are these platforms that should do things for you, but they, in my opinion, this whole pursuit, this whole endeavor would be a failure if it just took a set of rules-based yield optimization parameters and wrapped it into an agent with an LLM and then just did the same thing anyway. The design philosophy is to take models and bring it into the core of the agent so that you can have an input onto these models and then have a sovereign autonomous agent doing things for you in the real world that are very tightly aligned with what your actual demand profile is. Because otherwise, we haven't actually solved the problem of DeFi. It may now be usable, but for what user? These agents are yours. You own them. And therefore, its demand profile should be very closely aligned with yours.
One of my big takeaways from Michael's talk is that the Optimus agent is one that is designed to align really closely with the intentions of its operator/owner. That would be you in this case if you were to run it via Pearl. I think customization, personalization like this is going to be everywhere in the AI agents of the future. We can already see it in many of the agents that I'm showcasing today. And I think it makes perfect sense because after all, if they're going to be managing our assets on our behalf, they need to really understand our intentions and what we want. Otherwise, I don't think you can say that they actually meet their goals. It's also cool to see agent builders thinking about the communication between users and agents already at this early stage. Getting that right is going to be incredibly important. Yeah, Optimus is definitely a very cool agent, and I really enjoyed Michael's presentation. Okay, next up, here's another agent that both embodies ownership and personalization. This was presented by Renç Korzay from Giza. It's the ARMA agent. So ARMA is a stablecoin yield optimization agent. It's already live, and according to this presentation, managing hundreds of millions of volume. Here's what Renç had to say about it.
Now we want to transition into something different, which is like wallets to wardens. And wardens are your personalized agents that run your capital for you 24/7. They protect your capital, they grow your capital, and they put you in a more and more profitable position every single hour, every single day. So you can spend time with your kids, you can spend time with your loved ones, and you can do what people are great at, which is orchestration and providing intent. The second part of this is the personalization aspect. There is a global trend that reaches beyond our world in DeFi and Web3 towards hyper-personalized agents. Agents that run your life for you, agents that complete tasks for you, and finance cannot be left behind and will not be left behind. We operate with this idea, we operate with this belief, and we build for today and we build for the future. And this personalization aspect, we are also seeing huge demand for it. 60% of our users are personalizing their agent. They want to say, I want my agent to go for this risk. I want my agent to go for this vault. So we discussed a lot about alpha. Personalization is the response to alpha, because everybody in this room has different dreams. Everybody in this room has different lives. So nobody wants the same thing. So why you should put all your capital with other people's capital in a vault that does only one thing?
So very cool model, very cool agent, right? Another thing I really liked about Renç's talk is the use of the word warden. I think the language around autonomous AI agents is definitely evolving and probably should continue to evolve. And warden could be a nice alternative that implies a little bit of if not trust, the idea of trust minimization, which again is important if we're going to entrust our assets to these autonomous AI agents. So that's a quick tour through some of the standout moments from Agents Unleashed in Cannes. I would definitely encourage you to watch the whole playlist. You can get a link to that in the description box or the show notes. There's a ton of presentations and a ton of information. I think if you watch the playlist, you're definitely going to get a sense of the shape of the current space of AI agents and where we could be headed. Wrapping up here, I think across all of these talks, we see these themes of ownership, action, personalization, getting put into practice in various ways where hopefully we can learn about the user intent, what they need from these agents, where they should and shouldn't trust them. And this current batch of AI agents definitely proves that none of this is theoretical anymore. These are real use cases with real agents doing real things. They're also accessible to people like you and me. One last idea I want to leave you with today is that what we're talking about here with agentic AI is much bigger than just an AI assistant or AI-enabled features in a tool or service that you already use. This is a fundamentally different way to interact with value and computers. It's worth paying attention to, worth being knowledgeable about, and worth trying for yourself. We'll leave it here for today, but before we go, I'd like to ask for your help to grow the show. You can do that by sharing it, leaving me a review, a rating, getting in touch with any feedback that you have. I am at Thomas Maybrier on X. And also, if you know someone in your work, personal life, at school who you think would enjoy the show, please share the episode with them. I'd love to have them with us. All right, thanks again for watching. This has been the Agents Unleashed podcast, and I will see you next time.